Welcome back to Marriage or Hell No. Happy Friday out there, fellas. I know you guys been out there really busting your butts all week, making things happen, being productive. So, shout out to you guys. Happy Friday. But I want to say first and foremost, thank you for all the love we've been getting on the channel. We've been growing rapidly, and it's really all down to the people like us men who just want to see better outcomes. So, without further ado, it's time to get into it. It's been a minute since I did a Kevin Samuels reaction video, and we know Kevin's been doing his thing. One's going to be a doozy because I'm actually going to be doing two reactions all in one video. So strap in, fellas. We're going to get it done.
So
Are
when
women
when
are
is the
women are
third
modern women
job,
acting loyal to relationships?
I find that I can see
Are they are
I
they
can see that.
but are modern women that started out with the video I put up today asking the question, do modern women want family or freedom?
I see so many women sacrificing pretty much everything to be with someone, at a point of desperation for it to be.
Where do you live?
I live in the US.
What state? It's not a game.
I live in Georgia.
Oh, shit. You know, whether it's Savannah, Decatur, Atlanta, woo, it's just getting worse out here in these streets. But, fellas, I want you guys to pay attention to one thing. I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on this woman because I want to get to the feature presentation or the main presentation, rather. But one thing you'll find out about this woman right here, she's already seeming distant, aloof. And Kevin just kind of said it right there, is the fact that, it's not a game. But you will find out as she talks, it slowly becomes a game to her, and she just has trouble admitting things. But let's keep it going.
Okay. 1 in 4 black women are married.
Hmm.
Before 1965 we had a marital rate of 80%.
Right.
Okay. Why aren't black women marrying today?
Options are so limited.
Bullshit.
You think so?
Bullshit. 54% of black men are single and childless, 61% in the middle class. You must be new to my show.
I'm definitely new. I
Yeah,
just learned
well, I'm
about
sorry.
you.
So,
Is
ma'am,
that why is
what
that
you
bad?
what you're saying is talking points that have been disproven. You can go to blackdemographics.com, black statistics by black people for black people, and see the marriage numbers.
That's so funny when women call in the Kevin Samuels show, right? Like one thing we're seeing is that they don't really do research. Like I know so many women that just really don't know things, like common sense things. And you would think that, demographics or, paying attention to income levels or whatever it is that relationships that they're talking about, they have no idea about the subject matters at hand. And what we find is that as good as some women are as being able to search for things, they don't really search out statistics that really impact them. It's like they don't use that Google search bar and do a query for really anything other than like, I guess certain things that they pay attention to. But if you're going to call in the Kevin Samuels show, I never understood why they don't do more research on these topics, but yet they want an outcome.
I would like
50,
to learn. That's why I came. I heard
54% of
great things
50.
about you.
Okay,
That's
50. Well,
why
one
I'm
of the
coming.
things you don't do. One of the first things you don't do, you don't overtalk. So if I'm talking, you can't talk through. It's bad for the listeners. But if you say lack of options, that's bull. 54% of black men are single and childless, and 61% are in the middle class.
So there's a high population of men that are single, and there's a high population of women that are single.
You missed it. You no no no. See what you did is you just tried to deflect. I
I'm
asked
trying to
you no
understand.
no
Is that a
no.
is that
One
what?
black women marry at a rate of 1 out of 4. The next lowest group of women is 54%. It's not a hold on. Listen. It is not a lack of men wanting to marry. It's a lack of black women wanting to marry. You're coming at it from the side that the issue is with men, and it's not.
I don't agree. I don't think it's a men issue either. I don't. I definitely
Well,
don't.
then, okay. Why aren't black women marrying anybody then?
My perspective, and this is just my perspective, and if it's been disproven, you can correct me where I'm wrong. my question is, my perspective is that it seems as if everybody's out here just trying to figure it out, both men and women. There's a high population of men that are single. There's a high population of women that are
No,
single. And
no, it's
or
not. Okay, ma'am, your perspective is not based. Okay,
is that not
look,
what
look, ma'am, look,
you
look.
just gave me? I'm sorry.
Listen, no, I don't know.
See, that's what she's really good at. You can see she's really good. Obviously, she's somewhat book smart, right? And even when I saw this originally, so this is my second time watching it in all transparency, I thought, looking at her now, I don't know what the hell she got going on with the hair, but originally thought, I was like, okay, this is a young lady who's just trying to, figure things out. But as you keep watching, you'll slowly see these things. And that's the reason why I say she's slightly condescending. And that's the reason why Kevin's not playing it. And Kevin, the one thing that's really good about Kevin is Kevin knows how to cut through fat, meaning that, BS, he knows how to cut through the fat really, really good. And he can read a woman like this. And I had trouble initially reading her, but I figured out that she was very condescending. And then later on, as you're going to see on my highlight, is that she might be lying here. And I'll get into that more here in a second.
The numbers, ma'am. The
Mm-hmm.
numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Black women marry at a rate of 26%. That means 1 out of 4 black women could ever expect to be married.
Mm-hmm.
The next lowest group of women marry at a rate of 54%. That's over half. That's white women. They're not trying to figure it out in this modern world. They know, their women know that their best chance of getting to the end of life and quality of life is with a husband, not a boyfriend, not a long term relationship, a French toast husband.
Mm-hmm.
But today, 80% of black children are married to fatherless homes.
That's a
So that's a woman choosing to have a baby before the benefit of marriage. It is 100% her choice to carry their child. Black women on this show will tell you, I've been engaged 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But when asked, why aren't you married? Like, how old are you?
38.
Why are you married?
See, stop it right there. Stop it right there. Because the next talking point, I'm gonna have to stop it again. I'm trying to play it real quickly without trying to stop it too much. But now she's getting to the parts where I need to stop it a lot more. There's no way you guys, initially when you guys saw this, did you guys think that she was actually 38 years old? I would have never thought she was 38 years old. But what we're gonna slightly find out here is that she's real good with the camera. I'll tell you that.
Married or single?
I'm single.
Any children?
I don't.
No.
No, I don't.
Why are you not married?
I've been in a relationship, my current one, for the past 3 years.
All right, stop it right there. Stop it right there. I don't know if anybody else caught that. And I kind of want to go back a second because I want to make sure I heard it. Kevin asked her, he said, "Are you married or are you single?" She answered that she was single, right? But then we come out 5 seconds later and figure out she's 38 years old, been in a 3 year relationship, and she used the word current, right? She didn't say I was in a relationship. She said I am in a relationship, in a current relationship. So what is she talking about? Like, I'm so confused as to why she's even calling in to Kevin's show. But I'm starting to get the picture here is that she's probably not being honest, if you will. Like, I don't know her reasoning behind this, but why is she talking about she's single? Then she's saying she's in a relationship. What the hell is going on with her current relationship? We know the answers to that. It's about to be a shambles, but let's just keep it going.
So we
But you're
discussed.
almost four. But you're almost 40.
I am.
Why aren't you not married? Why are you not married?
I mean, that is something I know that what I've done, and admittedly, I can say is a failure on my part in my upbringing, is that I've always put work ahead of a relationship and
Okay,
other
so
things.
are you more than okay? And do you think you are more typical of black women, or do you think you're more the norm or more the abnormal?
I'm pretty sure I'm in the average range.
Well, then, if that's the
I
case,
don't
so if that's the case, you just prove my point. 38 years old, and
Hmm.
you said your career. Did you go to college?
I did.
Master, you have a master's, bachelor's, master's, what?
I studied in healthcare, and so yeah, I would just say
You have a bachelor's, master's, PhD, what?
bachelor's,
Huh?
bachelor's.
Bachelor's. And so, and what is your career?
I'm not in that industry. I don't want to talk about my work field on
No,
here.
no, no, man. That's this show.
This is very interesting to her. Like, so for instance, she's not in her field anymore, so she's making a transition. And just to give you guys a heads up, I really believe that this woman is about to hit, she's already hit one wall that we know of with her relationship experience, because you could see her relationship, she's all over the damn place. She's just trying to figure out her relationship status, how she can improve or make sure she doesn't hit that real wall. But she's already hit that wall. But she's about to hit another wall that people don't often talk about. I'm gonna get into that in a second. But what you can see with this lady right off the back is that you could tell she's not honest. Like, she's in these transition periods. Like, she's going through these honeymoon phases, not in her relationship, but overall, holistically, in my opinion, in relationship as well as career.
This show. That's
What?
this show. I'm only asking you, ma'am. I'm only asking you what can be seen on LinkedIn. I'm not asking you about your money. But if you said I put my career ahead of relationship, you've said I put my career above relationship, and I'm just
Okay.
gonna ask you what the career is.
I did. I worked in telecommunications.
So did I. I was in, trust me,
Okay, so
telecommunications.
my
So
thing
bottom
is,
line, man,
I'm
don't over talk
telling
me.
you that if it's okay, if it's so,
No, it's not okay. You can't overtalk me. I've said that 3 times, so you've been muted. You won't overtalk me. That's just won't happen.
Look, she looks so puzzled. Like, she
So
doesn't know
what we're
what she
seeing
did.
is somebody said they want to learn, who don't know what they're talking about, and then we
And
just
she's
ask
taking
the
notes,
basic
Kevin.
questions. The defensiveness, and at 38 years old, what career? Man, all you have to do is back it down and not overtalk me. But I'm running a show, and you can either you want to. I don't think you want to do this path. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to help. Stop with the frowning of the face because it's not going to look too good for you. So you might want to just take a second to.
See, Kevin can read through her shit.
You just can't over. You can unmute yourself if you choose to. Not, ma'am. I'm trying to run a show. Talk to you. With almost 18,000, 17,000 people. You said your career. Are you an executive,
director level.
director level? As someone who has been vice president level, I see more professional, unmarried black women. But, but being a director does not preclude marriage. I've seen plenty of directors and VPs who are female who were married. The majority of the people above director are married.
I'm gonna pause it right here real quickly because I want you guys to pay attention to her facial expression, her positioning right now. That's gonna be pivotal in the next 15 seconds or so. And I'm gonna tell you about the second wall.
True or false?
I haven't looked at the stats for that, so I don't want to misspeak.
Okay, let's just look in your organization. Is it the norm that people director or higher are unmarried?
In when I do my analysis, everybody seems to be married.
Your in your
In
observation
my
of the
in
observer
my in
of
my
your.
leadership, in my chain of leadership,
Thank you,
in
thank
my
you. My point is, career does not preclude marriage.
Now, I'm gonna stop right here to talk about the second wall. It is very true. I don't care if the field is telecommunications, if it's pharma, if it's, some variation of manufacturing, CPG. Once you get upstream, everybody tends to be married. Oftentimes you find a lot of black women who will make it to manager, senior manager, director, senior director, even going up to EVP, MVP, RVP, whatever name you want to put on as VP. But what happens oftentimes, especially with black women being that they're unmarried, they get to a certain level and then they hit a glass ceiling. So what happened to her more so than anything is that she's approaching what I like to call the second wall. It's a secret that's been in corporate America for a long time. What is that second wall? If you ever look around your org chart or you look upstream, downstream, whatever have you, at any level of leadership, any level of executive level titles, and you're at those roundtable discussions, you see very few women, if any, that are age 45 or older. So this woman now has stated that she's 38 years old. And then now she knows that there's probably about another 7 years that she can really maximize or try to maximize her potential with any kind of organization, right? But everybody knows, and most men know this, is that you see very few women due to various different reasons, because at those levels we're talking about 80 hours a week. Damn 60, we're talking about 80 hours a week. Even if you go on vacation or if your company has unlimited PTO, you are still working all the time. Not saying that some women can't do that, but across in mass, most women don't want to do that. So what corporate America does is corporate America loves women, especially black women, love you as being a ball buster in your 20s. Oh, you still got a little ball busting value in 30, but right around that 40 mark, 45 is when that dip starts to happen. And more than likely, when Kevin was talking to her and you saw her posture, she's had to sit in boardroom meetings to where she felt that she couldn't talk, because when organizations are looking at somebody like her and they're asking her questions around KPIs, forecasting, a lot of these times in these meetings, you have to sit there and take it a lot of times in order to get whatever the company's objective is done, whether it's a private company or a public company. So she's probably felt the glass ceiling effect, and that's the reason why she's transitioning out of that career.
This
I
is a
would,
black. This is what we do on this show. We look at the facts, the figures, the data, the statistics, and then we take and mirror against the popular talking points. You came in saying that the reason your guests for why black women weren't married because of lack of candidates. That's simply not accurate. It's not even. It's not.
All right. Nobody sees it, but this is the reason why I wanted to cover this lady. And after this, I'm going to move on to the main presentation. I said that she was aloof. I said that she's slightly condescending. I'll give her credit. She looks better than your average 38-year-old. Let's give her credit for that. But we really don't know what she looks like. And fellas, did you just see it right there? I'm going to have to back it
Accurate.
up
It's
for
not
a
precise.
second.
Lack of
Did you
candidates. You
guys
came
see
in
it? I
saying
didn't
that the
even catch
reason
this the first time.
your guests for why
Watch it.
black women weren't
One,
married because of lack of candidates. That's
two,
simply not accurate. It's not even.
three,
It's not
four,
accurate. It's not precise. It's not
five,
true.
6,
It's
7. She's using a filter, bro. I didn't even catch that the first time. She's using a filter. We really don't know what this lady looks like, but that's neither here nor there. I'm tired of going on talking about women in these filters and artificials and all this other stuff, but she's not who we thought she was.
more the norm that black women go to college and focus on themselves until they're 30 plus years old. And then after 30, they decide they may want to possibly have a serious relationship that leads to marriage one day with children. But by this time, most of you are your age inappropriate for marriage.
See, she got her hands over her mouth now.
Because sadly, many have children by that time. Just look at the numbers.
Nancy,
Sure.
I don't know how to. I want to. First of all, I want to say that I was recommend. I heard about your show, and this is like the first time I've ever, or still the probably
She's not
one of
gonna
the first
take it
time I've done
easy on
an
you for
internet thing.
this.
So I'm not very familiar with this. I do respect your show. So if it did come across as if I wasn't, I do
Okay.
apologize. So I do want to start off by saying that. Secondly, I'm just here to understand more. So I didn't
I'm not going to say she's doing like the innocent girl thing. I think she's got a little bit of that in her. The point I want to talk about is going back to what I said before. Kevin asked her was she married or single. She said single. Then we find out 5 seconds later she's been in a 3 year relationship, right? 38 years old, 3 year relationship. But then she's coming on Kevin's show to understand. And I have to ask the question, why is she trying to understand? And I already talked about the corporate wall that she's facing. For some reason in her relationship, she's unsettled in her relationship. She seems like a person who has commitment issues. She's going through a lot of transitions. That's the reason why the place looks slightly dirty behind there. But in my opinion, like I said, I don't know this woman, but she's got a lot going on right now. And she's not thinking about telling Kevin the truth. And that's really a disservice to her.
Research anything prior to this?
Well,
And
what,
I
what we can,
I
what we
did
can,
begin.
what we can do is, if you were in telecommunications, I spent the first 10 years of my career in telecommunications sales. I've spent 20 years in sales. I've been in corporate America until I was in advertising. Started my own agency. Bottom line is this, man. The things that black women hold out as reasons for not getting married don't stop other races of women.
There,
My
there he goes
what I,
again.
the point that I was trying to make was that I I know the mistake that I personally made and the things that I was doing. So I have full accountability into what the reasons why I'm not married. So
Okay.
I'm not. I didn't come up at the beginning of me saying that was I made the mistake of really over prioritizing my work and thinking of trying to be the stereotype.
I'm gonna stop it right there. And I don't really talk about this. I think we sometimes we just beat this drum to death. Is that we know that so many of these women, especially our women in particular, they like to come lead with their career and all this other stuff, but they really don't understand that there's a corporate wall that they often hit. But the other thing I want to talk about real quickly too with her is this you stop. Why do women keep leading with their career? At least she's honest and saying that she knew she put too much time in her career, but now she's already 38 years old in a 3 year relationship. If she exits this relationship, now she has to go into the dating market possibly at 38, 39. Then maybe she finds a guy, let's say at 39, 40. But then where's that even going to go? Because she's already at what we call no man's land. So women have to stop this. And guys are just not interested in careers, period. It's just not what we look for. But, she did, at least she's trying to keep it real. I'll give her credit for that she did over prioritize her career. And the relationships that I have with black women, they tend to do a lot of this leading with their value points as if they're strengths. They're really not strengths. And the few times, now I'll be honest, the few times that I did swirl, these were women that had master's degrees. Can't remember the last woman I dated that only had a bachelor's degree, but these are women that were outside of the black community that had master's degrees, but they pursued the shit out of me. They were like, hey, look, I want to be with you. I want to get to know you. And they prioritized me. And that's the reason why I think I was entering those relationships. But now that I'm ready to build up my family and I want a sister, this is one of the challenges I'm having is that sometimes these women within our community lead with this and it just has no value to me.
Typical things that you hear
Let,
about what
let
young
me
women try to
let me
do.
stop you right here. That is the very definition of being a mercenary.
Right. So there.
So, so this may be new to you. Watch the program. You're gonna find out that you're right in line with so many other women who, at this point in life, are trying to figure it out when you prioritize career. You can't. It's really difficult to turn around and decide to want to be a traditional or even a wife when you spent your life worrying about you.
You see that smile? That smile was not for anything Kevin said. At this point in time, she knows that her lips are flickering, and she knows that we know her lips are flickering. Just point that out real quick.
This is why we have this song. I'm a
I'm a
PhD.
PhD.
You have a dog? You own a dog or a cat? Do you own a pet?
I don't.
All right. Well, you're going to find out that you're pretty much in line with a lot of women, and professional career, but at the end of the day, long relationships, no marriage. You have a 3-year relationship, and do you want to be married one day?
I'm not for certain. I don't know. I'm not. I don't think so.
Do you want children?
I don't think so.
All right.
That's really the moral to the story with this woman. She really, to be fair with her, I'm gonna try to be somewhat balanced here. Now, I'm not, like I said, in my opinion, I thought this woman was very condescending, extremely aloof in cases. Um, I know she's a liar because I don't really know what she looks like, and I pointed that out. Now, the one thing is, I do think that this woman is book smart. She has no real knowledge of the corporate wall, but it has hit her. So that's the reason why she's transitioning, maybe from healthcare to something a little bit more independent that she could stabilize for years on, able to come, right? But then the other thing too is that with this woman, the one thing that I find difficult is that she really struggles with commitment issues. Like she can't commit to anything other than a job. Like, how the hell have you made it to 38 and not had real relationship experience? Because what I mean by that is you just heard Kevin ask her two promptu questions to say, hey, do you want kids? Do you want a husband? She has no plan. But ask her anything 10 years ago, 5 years ago about a career. Oh, she'll have all types of ideas. She'll have a solid plan, can give you two firm sentences, no run-ons. But ask her, what is your plan for marriage? Do you want a husband? What are you going to be able to do for the rest of your life? How are you going to sustain it? Ask her any relationship questions. She has no flipping idea. It's like no plan at all.
Well,
I'm not for
by the
certain.
time, so no children, no husband. By the time you reach 65, are you going to have your roughly $2.4 million to retire on cash?
Well, I'm blessed to say that I have a wonderful family that I came from,
No, no,
and
no, no.
Oh shit. Here we go. I'm not gonna call her spoiled, but damn, like, ooh, she didn't really think about this one. She's coming across like slightly different than trust fund Becky, but she's talking about her family. She's not talking about herself. She's thinking about her family's resources, but she really hasn't thought about her own resources, even though she prioritizes careers.
No, 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 no. I'm asking, are you, so through your own efforts as a single individual, are
yes.
you going to be able to pay for your rest of your life when you're no longer working? Not what somebody else did for you.
I mean, I'm self-sustaining. I can say that. I'm not.
No,
I
no,
don't know
no,
if I'm
no.
going to be a
Okay. No,
multi-billionaire
no,
and
ma'am. No,
millionaire. I'm not
no, no,
sure,
no,
especially
no,
now.
no, 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 no. Ma'am,
What are you
it has
saying?
nothing to do with a multi-billionaire. This is simple math.
Uh-huh.
If you cannot work and you have no family, no children, if a man cannot work, right? He has no money to pay for anything. He runs out of money. Where will he end up?
Watch how slick she is right here.
I mean, that I wouldn't. That wouldn't be something I
Where
really.
will a man end up?
She
No
knows where
money,
Kevin is
no
going.
family.
Why? Why would he have? Why if someone
Ma'am, where? Okay, I'm going to ask you one more French toast. See, this is one thing I don't do. You don't answer a question with a question. That's rude. You
Sh-
have to know better than that.
I'm not for certain.
Okay, ma'am, if a man has no money, no family, no kids, and runs out of money, where's he going to be? In a nice home, fully fed, or is he going to be homeless?
He's
Now watch this. Kevin said, "Is he gonna be fully fed, sheltered, taken care of, or is he gonna be homeless?" This is the type of woman. She may have a little bit of passive aggressiveness in her, but hold up, the need to be right as a part of sign language, the need to be right is at an all-time high with this woman. Whether she's argumentative, whether she gesticulates, whether she does anything. She could be soft toned, but this woman is strong in the need to be right. What you would find with this woman is she might be slightly argumentative, and that's the way she presents herself underneath this cover that she has going on. But watch what she does. She is afraid to even use the words. She just has to make up shit.
destitute.
Destitute is another word for what? Homeless.
Yeah, it's gonna. Yeah.
All right. So anybody in that position who runs out of money
Uh huh.
and has no family,
Uh huh.
no children, is going to end up where?
Is that what?
Is going to end up where?
Who knows? I'm
It's
not.
going to end. No, that's bullshit. See, there's no who knows. This is what I mean. This is the problem. The logic just won't go through. Nope, nope, absolutely not.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
Y'all see it
This is
right
why I
here.
say she's slightly
I
condescending.
don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't no no I can't answer that question.
She just wanted to fight, but like in not in a super aggressive way, but it was more like the need to be right with this type of woman. But scratch all that, man. Let's get to like the real main event. Here comes the main event, fellas. You gotta be ready for it. Let's
Doing well,
go.
thank you. And yourself?
I'm good. How old are you?
I'm 26.
Good. So what are we talking about? Talking about tired of being alone? Or are we talking about modern mercenary?
Actually, so there was a lady who joined the call earlier today, and I kind of agree with her as far as well, what y'all's conversation, um, and how y'all were speaking about the older generation kind of failed us as far as like teaching us how to, properly prepare for marriage. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of here to like say like, I'm learning as well and kind of trying to navigate as well.
Well, I don't think she really agreed.
I'm not gonna get into that real quick, but don't you guys find it funny that our women are like always in this state of like, I'm learning this, I'm learning that. It's like, why don't y'all know these things? Like the previous call, 38, she's calling in to learn. I mean, hell, I just turned 40 and I got at least 15 years of relationship experience. But why don't these women know anything?
Agreed much with me. I
Mm-hmm.
said that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she came in saying, well, younger women need to be married. Then I was like, well, okay, cool, I hear you, but they're not going. Then I asked her about having any daughters. She said she had 4 stepdaughters, 25 to 29, who are always single. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, all right. So, what do you want to be married one day?
Absolutely. So definitely, for sure.
Was your
One
mother
day.
was your mother married?
My mother was married.
Okay.
She's divorced now.
Was she married to your father?
Yes, she was.
Hmm. How long were they married?
For about 10 years or so.
Mhm.
About 10 years.
So when you speak to your mother about dating, relationships, and men, is
Hmm.
she happy, upbeat, optimistic, and joyful?
Yes.
Okay.
But I also do come from a very strict traditional background. So earlier you were talking about how, like back in the day, men or women don't really have to prepare for marriage. They're kind of just already ready. I completely agree with that. Um, when I was growing up, I always knew that, well, I kind of knew that my parents would like find someone for me.
Mhm.
However, since like living in America and everything like that, they're kind of letting me like, look for love.
So you guys need to understand that point that she just made, right? So just a small recap, right? So she's 26 years old. Her mother and her father were married for 10 years. They were divorced. She comes from a traditional family, but then you just heard the point that she just made. Now, in my opinion, this is what I'm going to say here. I don't think she's a bad looking woman in the face, head wrap, not a bonnet. I appreciate that, especially if you know throughout the diaspora or you go to West Africa. It's very common to see women with this, and even over here in the States in certain cities. But I do think she presents herself in that type of natural way. We're going to talk about something else a little bit later on, but just a small recap, like I said. So remember, the number is 10 and 26.
And yeah.
Okay. So is your mother? She's been divorced from your father for how long?
Ooh, it's been about, yeah, like 20 something years now.
Has she had a boyfriend or a significant relationship since?
Yes. However, it's been a few years.
How long was that relationship?
Not that long at all.
Okay. So in the last 20 years, she hasn't had any real relationships.
Yeah, that's true. I think she focused more on me and my
So,
siblings.
so, so when I ask if your mom is happy, upbeat, joyful, and optimistic when she talks to you about relationships. If she divorced your father
Mm-hmm.
and she hasn't had a man,
Correct.
she can say one
Um,
thing, but what are you seeing?
I think she's focused on herself, honestly.
It's a mercenary.
She's focused on herself, right? She, her mom is focused on herself. What do you think a mother that has been focused on herself is going to teach her daughter, bro? That's what I want you guys to think about. And she's going to answer it as we go. But this is one of the most captivating interviews because, like I said, this woman is only 26 years old.
It's a
True.
mercenary because
True.
you say you were raised in a traditional kind of place, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, your mother divorced your father or your father divorced your mother.
Situation was pretty bad, so it was definitely my mother who left.
Okay. I don't want to pry too much. Are you saying the situation
Mm-hmm.
was bad because you
Mm-hmm.
witnessed it?
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Okay.
But
I,
but
but okay. All right. Women often, I often hear young ladies idealize their mothers.
mm-hmm.
What did your mother teach you about relationships if she's not in one? Can't keep one.
So that's actually a good point that you make.
I know.
You actually, well, I had to learn, like, okay, if my mom is living like this, and you
So, in other
know,
words, you got to answer the question before you do that.
okay,
What does she teach
okay.
you?
So what she taught me is, what I learned is that you definitely can't be in a situation that you're not happy with.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right. All
especially if
right.
it's not healthy.
No.
Okay,
No. Move
okay,
on past your mother and because see, I don't want to go down that path. I don't want to ask what the issues were.
mm-hmm,
With the police involved. All right, then we move on.
mm-hmm.
But since then, what is she teaching you about men? Because that ain't all men. That ain't all relationships.
I wanted to stop it before, but I try to let it go on as long as I can. Small recap again, and then I'm going to talk about this. So, married for 10 years, divorced for 20 something years. The lady is 26. That's the reason why we have channels like this. We have to be able to understand things. So, for instance, my hypothesis is that this woman has been more spent more time with her mother than she has spent with her father, meaning that if she is only 26 years old, we don't know the age of the siblings. She might have older siblings that might have relayed similar sentiments, right? But she has spent more time being influenced by her mother with her father outside of the house. So now she's only getting fed information probably from her mother's side. That's what we can probably guess just from that. Now, I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna talk about something else too, because I'm not gonna minimize her situation. Now, we often hear women call about, oh yeah, it was a bunch of abuse and all this other stuff. If the police were called and we're not gonna overlook that. I'm gonna move on from it, but that's not guys like us. We don't do that, and we will not let black men be seen as this. First and foremost, do some guys lose their temper? Absolutely. Do some women lose their temper? Absolutely. But either way, we are saying that that is wrong. Now, my hypothesis will hold up to be firm based upon what you guys are about to hear next, because her mother has been influencing her decisions. So now she doesn't understand that how to even get a man, because in her mind she almost thought a man was supposed to be already picked out for her because her family tried to raise her in a traditional setting. So she probably thought, she's probably surprised by the whole process. But you are about to be shocked at what her mother has been teaching her.
I don't want to go there.
Okay.
But what else?
She always, well, she's taught me to find somebody who loves me,
Uh
find
huh.
someone who will care for me,
Uh huh.
support me.
What does that mean?
Um,
What does
what
that
does that
mean?
mean?
Huh?
I need to make sure that I find a man who that I'm basically not doing all of the work.
So she taught
That
you. So she taught you. Thank you.
mhm,
Somebody who will love me and support me. When it gets right
mhm,
down to it, here comes the fears. Somebody that's going. I'm not going to do it. So come on. I know where we're going with this. You're saying one thing, but you were taught another.
okay.
You said she was joyful, optimistic, upbeat, but she told me to find somebody who loves me,
Mhm,
somebody who's going to support me.
mhm.
But you're supposed to be the support system, not me. You are my support system. I'm not your support system.
She ain't got no idea what Kevin's talking about. But the point I want to make here too is love me, care me for me, support me. Um, Something where I'm not going to do all the work. So where her mother is saying, "Oh, he didn't love me. He didn't care me. He didn't care for me. He didn't support me. Multiple children, married 10 years." Now, like I said, I'm not condoning any action. We don't know that that's true, and I'm not trying to minimize her situation. So is her mother saying that she did all the work? So what her mother has been telling her is these fears, these hypotheticals that she may never even face. So now she's going down a path of scarcity, of fear that might not even be tied to who she is. And fellas, this is one of the most important things. I can tell you, as a man who has operated between New York City and Atlanta for at least 10 years and spent 6 months in each place throughout multiple of these years, right? So the point is that I'm trying to make is that oftentimes when I'm on a date and I'm meeting a woman, and let's just say we're going to hang out, we're going to have a good time or whatever, I've been on so many dates where so many women are so afraid of things that might not even happen to them. And I often ask, how did you even develop this? I'll give you guys a quick story. I was in New York City. I think I was chilling with a lady. We was on 116th Street, took her to one of those restaurants over there on like a first date. Do you know that she told me that she had shared her location with her mom and her sister because they wanted to make sure she was all right. I was coming from, Manhattan, lower Manhattan, and she was coming from Queens. So I picked uptown because I thought it was a good place for us to meet, right? Depending on the part of Queens she lived in. It was easy access for her. But the point I'm trying to make is why the hell was she so scared that somebody's going to do something to her? And I asked her, I said, where did you develop this from? Like, what made you think I was going to do it? She was like, no, guys are crazy. And I said, has anything crazy ever happened to you? She said, no. So I said, why are you fearful of this? But it's amazing to see where this fear comes from. And we're slowly starting to see, men, that the fears are coming from their mothers. Now, I'm not talking about this case in particular because we see it all across the board, whether there was abuse involved or not. You know what I mean? And my point is that our women have got to learn that dating is about taking risks sometimes. They often want to sit back and say, well, who's the guy who's going to care for me, love me, support me to where I don't have to do all the work? Please DM me right now so that way I can get this outcome. And if you don't have enough money, then I'm going to leave you. And then they wonder, where are the good men at? What the hell's going on?
Sister, you're
Mhm.
supposed to love me. I'm not supposed to love you. I'm supposed to protect you. You're supposed
Mhm.
to love me.
Okay.
You are my support. I'm not your
Okay.
support. And then somebody where I'm not going to have to do all the work. You're supposed to work for me.
Mhm. Agreed.
You said you were raised in a traditional kind of way.
Mhm.
I'm not hearing any traditional anything that your mother's teaching you.
Because a mother and
She
teacher
ain't
that.
living it because she don't have a man.
And I was just about to say that. So she can't live it, but I
Yes, she
mean,
can.
based off of the
Yes, she can. She could have.
okay,
Yes, she can. She could have found a
by
man.
finding a man.
Thank you. Because children don't
Mhm.
learn.
I'm gonna stop right there real quick. Like I said, this is a feature presentation, so I know I'm stopping it a bit much, but it's very important that we talk about this conversation because the good news is that she's only 26, and you could tell she's calling in the Kevin shows because she's conflicted. This woman understands that. Look, my mom has been telling me all this other stuff, and people have to deal with me. But I'm starting to fear, or I'm starting to feel that my life is absent of something. It is missing something. So that's the reason why she's calling in the Kevin show. The second point I want to talk about: why is it that within our community, where so many women have failed their daughters in even teaching them how to be married, how to be women, how to be serve a man or be complimentary of a man, why the hell do women listen to their mothers who got zero results. And this is the reason why they struggle with men, because men are outcome based. So if you live in this area of, well, hold on, I need to pedestalize my mom because my mom took care of me and my mom did all this other stuff for me. And, I had to listen to her because she was the only voice in my household. But then when they grow up and they start seeing absences of these results that their mother's teaching was supposed to give them, they still often listen to their moms.
From what you tell them, they learn from what you see.
Mm-hmm.
At 26 years old, you're no closer to being married than you were at 23 because you don't even
Mm-hmm.
know what you're looking for. You know
I
what you're
believe I
looking
know what I'm looking for.
for. Okay, what are you looking for?
So I'm definitely looking for a man who has more than what I have for myself.
Oh,
What does that
shit.
mean?
Say again.
What does that mean?
So I have this, I guess, vision for myself as far as how successful I need to be. And I feel like the man that I find either needs to meet that or exceed that by at least like times
What do you
three.
have?
What do I currently have?
Uh huh.
So currently I have like a job. Like you mean like physically, like I have a job,
You
or
said you
like
didn't meet a man that has more than you. What do you have?
She not
so
ready.
I live in my own place. I have my own cars.
Okay, hold on.
I live in my own place, right? All right, so let's just. Ooh, she's about to go down a dark path. She's about to go down a dark path, but this is where it kind of gets entertaining. I'm going to wrap it up in a nice bow tie at the end, so don't worry. But this is where she kind of starts to fall down slope a little bit. So she basically says a man needs to have more than what I have. So meaning that that man needs to service me, pedestalizing and delusion, whatever she thinks, but she's still young, so don't worry about it. But she basically said, "Oh, what do you mean? I need to have a job? Okay, I have my own place, right? Place. We don't know what that means. Even if she would have, any woman that comes across this content, even if she would have substituted the word house, still wouldn't matter. It's the same thing. Then she uses the word cars, plural, not singular. But watch how it breaks down. Because I'm telling you, you're not ready. This girl says that she has a plan. But when Kevin starts going into KPIs and numbers, oh my God, it gets so interesting.
On a
Hmm.
home or an apartment?
I'm in an apartment,
Okay, you own cars or car?
a car.
Okay, you have an apartment or car. Did you go to college?
Yes, I did.
Did you
And I'm
graduate?
currently, yes, I did, with the
What's your degree in?
bachelor's,
And what?
working on a master's,
Bachelor's in
business
what?
administration.
And masters in what?
I'm either going to do a master, well, I'm working on a
I'm a
master's
Hold
CPA.
up, hold up,
degree.
hold up, hold up. See, slow her down right there. I told you she was about to go down a dark path, right? So she started off by saying that she has a plan for how her outcome is supposed to be. And a man is supposed to fit within her outcome or this vision that she has. But ask a few questions and we find out that she does not have a freaking plan.
PhD.
In finance, sorry.
Right. Uh huh. So
Hmm.
you got a car, an apartment, uh, and did you get scholarships or you have student loans?
I do have student loans.
Uh huh.
I did get
So
scholarships as well,
so
but I'm
are
in debt.
you?
Yes, I get your point.
How much are we talking? 10, 20, 30, 40? What?
Oh, I'm up there.
What's that?
Oh, I'm like 60K.
You see, I had to stop her right there. She's so funny when she did that. She knew everything she said. This is the typical sentence that you hear a person uses, or like a complex sentence that you hear people use when they go, I want this, but, and then as we all know, everything before the but doesn't matter. So she started talking about, okay, she's raised around traditional families, she's been in traditional family or whatever, and then she knows how to get with a man, or she knows what she wants. So this man needs to do all this other stuff. But when we flip the table on her, right? When we flip the table on her, we find out she's renting an apartment. She has one car. Couldn't use the word. She doesn't have two cars, but she started off by saying it was plural. Then we found out later it was singular, right? But then she goes up to, okay, I'm going out here and I'm about to get business administration. I went to school, I got my bachelor's. Oh, I'm about to go to school for business administration, right? But what are you gonna get your bachelor's? Oh, I'm unsure about that. Well, how much debt do you have? Well, I'm up there, 60K. So now this man who needs to have all of these things is supposed to incur her debt as well. And you see, she is smiling about it.
All right. So, in other words, you're a 26-year-old woman. How tall are you?
I am 5'5".
Dress size?
You say again?
Dress size?
Oh, dress size. I don't know, like 12. I don't know.
Oh,
Well,
fuck
how
it.
much
It's
did you weigh
over.
last time you weighed yourself?
I'm like 190.
Shh, fuck out of here. It's over. It's over. All right. I sound like a prick when I said that, but yo, I'm telling you, it's the truth. It's over. It's over. Everything that she could have wanted, everything that she thought about, it's over. 5'5", 190. I'm not, like I said, I don't need to be the, I don't need to be the dead drum, if you will. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that alone.
How many children would you like to have?
2.
hmm And after you're pregnant and married with your first child, do you want to have to work to pay significant bills?
Absolutely not.
Okay. What percentage of the overall family financial load do you want to have to be responsible for an
Less
entire
than
lifetime?
30.
Less than 30 could mean one. Which percentage?
30 or less.
Well, ma'am, you cannot work after you're pregnant and then be responsible for 30% of the family financial load. Those two numbers don't match.
How not?
Well, if you're not working, at what age do you plan on going back to work?
So I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So what percentage of the overall family financial load do you want to have to be responsible for a lifetime? And 30% means if your income goes away, the family takes a substantial hit. 30%, you cannot, a ship can't even stay with 3 compartments. 30% compromises it.
Mm-hmm.
So what percentage of the overall family financial load do you want to have to be responsible for? Meaning if you don't make it, it doesn't compromise it. Meaning you don't make it.
Okay, quick question. I'm so sorry.
Huh?
So if I'm responsible for 30%, leaving us with 70%, that we can't live off of that.
It's going to substantially change what happens. 30% is beyond the tipping point.
So what would be a good percentage?
I don't know, ma'am. I'm asking you. You said you don't want to, after you're married, pregnant, you don't want to have to work. So,
Okay, let me change that statement. I don't want to have to work like a job to where it's like,
ma'am, I just need to know what I want to know. What percentage of the overall
30%.
So you want to be responsible for 30% of the family stress. So that means your daughter and your son has a car. You want to be responsible for 30% of that. They go to college. You want to be responsible to pay 30% of that. Everything responsible for 30% for the rest of your life. So that means you're going to have to work through 65. All right. What state you in?
You see, I told you, bro. This is where everything starts to go downhill because she hasn't done the numbers. She's not data driven in these particular subjects. And it's fine. Okay, she's a woman. She's not probably supposed to know the numbers the same way we do, but it gets definitely worse. But I just want to stop it right there. All right, so he used the tipping point example. I mean, most of us men, we know what the tipping point is, but for her, this is probably the first time she's ever even heard the tipping point. But she thought that she's probably watched the Kevin Samuels show before, so she knew Kevin was going to ask this question. So she tried to come up with a number as 30%. But see, 30% is beyond the tipping point because it is beyond enough small changes that can lead up to a significant amount that can have a larger impact on something. So she doesn't really know what those numbers are. And I'm telling you, once I press play again, bro, her numbers are way off.
Texas.
How much does it cost to have a middle class family of 4 in Texas to live a middle class life?
50 to 60K.
What? You bugging.
What the French toast did you just say?
To have a
family of 4. A family.
See, the reason why she didn't hear the number, Now she's gonna say like she didn't hear it, but the reason why she didn't hear that number originally is because you got to keep in mind she's been trained to think about herself only. She talked about a dude loving her, supporting her, caring for her, her not having to do all the work. So it's a natural reaction for this type of woman to lead with everything being about her. So even when he asked about the numbers about the family, not only did it catch her off guard, but she didn't really understand because she's only been ever taught to think about herself.
Family
Oh,
of four.
120K.
Get the
A
fuck out of
family
here.
of 2 children and 2 adults, to where the kids can have cars and go to college. $120,000.
Girl, your number got to be above
$120,000 in
300.
Texas. I lived in Texas for 12 years. That ain't gonna
Hmm.
cut it. That's not gonna cut it. That's not gonna cut it. But let's just say, what? How much do you think you'll make at the top of your career?
About 120, 30K.
So 120 or 30K. So
Hmm.
that's 30%. So your man needs to make 70. So let's just use your math then, shall we?
Hmm.
So 130,000 times 0.17. So your man needs to make 221,000. If you're responsible for 30%,
My goal was actually 360,000 for my husband.
what percentage of you earn that?
Hold up,
That comes
hold up,
out of
hold
your
up, hold
paycheck?
up. We ain't gonna let her get off fast like that. Okay. Okay. 360. She wanna play that game? We go 360 in Texas. Now, we don't know if it's Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. We're just gonna go with 360, right? What does a man get for 360,000? 360,000 in Texas. I'm working at least 70 to 85 hours a week, right? So I'm grinding. That's the number I'm being held to. Okay, that's the number I'm gonna grind to. So 360. What do I get? He has to love me, support me, care for me. I can't be doing all the work, even though I make 360,000. She's only responsible for 30% of that threshold, or 30% of the family stress load. But then I get 190. I know that sounds jacked up to any woman that might be watching this. But fellas, we already know. No, sister, that is not gonna do. You gotta shape up and ship out.
Top 5 to 1%.
Top 1%. Ma'am,
Hmm.
you care if he's black, white, Hispanic, Asian,
An
or
astronaut.
Um, yes,
what do you want him to be?
African American.
Huh. And your dress size 12.
Yes, very curvaceous woman.
Care how curvy you are, you're almost 200 pounds, and you want a man who's making $360,000. So I got a question
Correct.
for you.
Mhm.
What does a man who's making $360,000 or more want from a woman?
Nothing. They don't need anything from us.
Modern mercenaries, everybody.
That was cold. That's a cold answer. Some people would argue that she's right. I think that's a cold answer because what she has been taught, and this is kind of some insight, a woman that thinks like that thinks that, okay, at 360,000, this man can afford whatever he wants. He can go out there get a girl, whether through cold approach or him just making a phone call. He can get whatever he wants. He can have somebody pay to come clean up his place. He can do everything he wants. But she has been trained in such a way that that's very cold, to where her mother never said, okay, he's 360,000. He needs peace. He needs stability. He needs good food. He needs a woman. Yes, he's going to need loving. Let's just get that out the way. He's going to need loving. But maybe the things that he may need as well or want is he may want more than 2 kids for that number. But there, now she's limiting the amount of kids. But I'm not supposed to go out there and make 360 in the state of Texas, but I can't even get more than 2 kids.
You can't make this shit up.
They don't need anything for us.
You can't make this shit
They
up. You
have the
can't make
whole
this shit.
world to choose
You
from.
cannot make this shit up. What does a man who's making that kind of money or more want from a woman?
I mean, I guess at that point it would just be what does he want from a woman? He would just want a family at that point, a woman
Well,
that's going to be
hold on, ma'am.
there to.
Hold on,
Okay.
ma'am. Hold on. See
Mm-hmm.
how clear you had for the man and how much money he needs to make and all this other shit. When I ask you one simple thing, what is the kind of man that you want from a woman? You can't answer that simple question. Just
I
kids, huh?
said,
Ma'am, all he needs is a working womb to do that.
Her mom didn't teach her
So,
anything.
so what does he want?
it would be basically somebody he could come back to for his support, somebody who's going to basically care after the kids
What's
while
your longest
he's out there
relationship? What's
working.
your longest relationship?
My longest relationship is the one I'm in now,
Uh-huh.
and I guess you could say that that's it, a little over a year.
Uh-huh. And how old is he?
Hmm. He is 25.
All right. So,
1 year younger than her.
um,
Hmm.
what's the maximum age difference you want between you and your husband?
Maximum. So for me to be stable, I would have to be looking at a guy that's like over 10 to 15 years older than me.
All right. So,
That says everything right there. So she's dating
can
in a
men say
place that
that?
she doesn't ultimately want to go to. Not saying that the guy that she's with at 25 can't build. Yes, a man can build. If she stays with the man, she's loyal to that man, helps that man grow, and very supportive of his needs. A woman can take a man from going straight from undergrad all the way to 360,000 if she plays her part in being able to support him. But this woman right here, she wants this outcome, but she doesn't even know how to support that type of man. I'm gonna do a final reaction to this. I think this has definitely been a good episode from Kevin, and Kevin's always spot on this type of stuff. I think one thing about Kevin is Kevin helps women realize how ludicrous they sound sometimes. I know some women will not want to go on his show because they think that people like being able to make fun of them. But at the end of the day, women need to watch these episodes back so that way they can say, you know what, I did sound foolish there. And honestly, at the end of the day, Kevin got me to see that I act foolish a little bit. And my perspective is just fairly off. All right. Let me give a final assessment. The first woman, I'm not going to give a final assessment on her. I'm done with her. But this woman right here, all right, she's 26 years old. She has high aspirations, but she's her numbers are way off, right? She's 5'5", 190. 190 can easily go to 200. So obviously she need to get in the gym. But then the other thing too is that she might, this is going to be very harsh, and I don't really know how to say this. I hope that this woman has had some type of, how do I say this? Some type of bridge to be able to reach out to her father to say, look, I don't know what happened in the past. More than likely, all of the stuff that happened in the past, she was an infant or toddler. She didn't see anything. So she would have had to get information from older siblings if she has them, or she has been spoon fed to believe one side of the outcome from her mother. But she needs to reach out to her father to say, look, if I'm trying to get a man at $360,000, I need guidance on how to attract that type of man, how to vet that type of man, or even, Father, can you help me realize that I have some issues and what I can do better to support that type of man for the outcome that I want. Some people may watch this and say, okay, maybe it's just too far for that. I'm not sure it is. I don't really know, but I think she needs that as a first step because she can't just keep listening to her mother. Her mother has taken her down a path of believing everything was about her, but yet a guy is supposed to deal with 5'5", 190, about to be 260,000 in debt, and I think that that's a low number. She's probably about 80,000, and that's really just the undergrad numbers. If she goes back for a master's, you didn't hear her talking about getting no type of grant that she doesn't have to pay back or some type of scholarship. More than likely, she's going to get student loans to get that, only to make 120,000. So I'm supposed to take on that debt and then deal with a woman who's supposed to be traditional, but yet I have to love, care, support her, and make her feel that she's not doing all of the work. So she has to kind of reassess her position at 26, which is a good number for her to be at. It really is. So if she looks at this interview with Kevin Samuels back again, it says, "Let me make some changes and some adjustments on what I feel I deserve versus what it is I can contribute." Kind of come down off her stances a little bit, get to know her father, stop listening so much to her mother. I think she'll have a better outcome. And even if she decided to stay with the 25-year-old man and support him until he gets to a higher level, we don't know if he's going to get to 360, but he might get to 250, and that might be a good number for them. Moral to the story is that she has a lot of ammunition to make some changes here. And it's really good that Kevin did this interview with her so that way she can realize, hey, I made some mistakes along the way and I got some changes I need to make if I want to achieve these outcomes. I want to thank you guys for tuning in with me this long. It's been the longest Kevin Samuel reaction that I've done so far, but I always shout out Kevin because I think Kevin's doing good work, not only for ourselves, but believe it or not, actually for our women as well, too. So, fellas, until the next time. Marriage to Hell Nah. We out. Enjoy your Friday.